Hello, folks. This is Joe from My Geek Scene, and I'm here sitting on this nice Corinthian leather couch with Tim, aka the Echoside Fiend.
How are you?
I don't think they can answer you, but that'll works. And we're here to talk about Astronomicon 4. So let's get into it. Tim, what did you like about Astronomicon 4?
Well, definitely the venue compared to the first three. We had a lot more room, a lot more with two vendor rooms. We had a lot more room for all the different tables, booths, all the different stores, whatever you want to call them, celebrity guests. Just you didn't get stuck walking down aisleways like you did at the first three, and a lot more room to maneuver. Really, just overall, so much more room and a lot easier to navigate.
And it was at the Sheraton, right?
Yes, this year was the Sheraton. It was at the Wyndham Garden Sterling Heights at the old location.
Where this is the old location for Astro 1 through 3.
And 3, yep.
So, yeah, it was at a Sheraton down in Ann Arbor.
Yep.
So, yeah, I would agree it was a bigger venue, and it definitely seemed like there was more space once you were inside the vendor rooms and being able to walk around. One of the things that I believe that we were both in agreement about was the things that we liked was that it took place in August compared to February.
Yes, definitely not having to worry about what the driving is going to be like. I mean, us both being Michigan natives, obviously the weather, as far as cold, isn't such a huge deal, but like you never know, especially us having to drive 2 hours, or 2.5 hours, and there's people that drive a lot farther. You don't know what the driving is going to be like. So with August, it was really hot, but I'd much rather that and than having to deal with possibly ice storm, snowstorm, whatever. We just know we're going to have good weather. So that's definitely a plus.
For sure. I mean, I know that I don't ever have to worry about my car running into black ice on those, balmy days of August.
Yeah, because I remember I think it was the second one was a little bit of a treacherous drive.
That sucked.
Yeah, like all the way through Lansing, it was just awful. And then last year when me and Jenny, my roommate, went, the first bit of it was a kind of a nail-biting journey too. So this year was just, not having to worry about that. So I definitely like that.
So the folks that are at Astro, please, I don't know what your plans are for the future, but I would love for it to be more in the summery months. Just please keep it around that time, or at least when there's no more
spring.
In the spring, there's no worries about ice on the roads and stuff like that. It's a lot easier. Sure, it sucks when it's hot outside, but I'd take
that over.
I'd take 90-degree temperatures over 20 and snow and ice. Any day of the week.
Yep, agreed.
So I don't know if Tim was able to go into there, but one of the things that I definitely enjoyed, for at least from the venue setup point of view, was the game room. The game room was pretty cool. They had arcade sticks that were hooked up to monitors, and each of the arcade sticks had over 1,500 arcade games programmed into them. They had SNES Classic, or is it the SNES Mini? Obviously, Super Smash Bros. Was playing throughout the weekend. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. They had the Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Reloaded game. And I got to play this cool indie game that's still in development called Iron Meat, which is basically looked like a Super Nintendo version of Contra. And that was a fantastic game. I would highly, highly recommend it. And yeah, Astro, once again, had a pretty good game room. So thumbs up to them.
Yeah, I did step in there and just walk around. I didn't play anything, but when I was in there, all the spots were taken up. But it did look like they had like some Raspberry Pis running, and it looked like they had a lot to choose from. And it was definitely, I think the one at 1, 2, and 3 was pretty decent size too, though, because it was in that upstairs room. So yeah, it was I'd say it was about the same as the other ones. But yeah, it looked like a good selection. Like you said, lots of games. People were coming and going from there all day, so it was a pretty popular thing to have.
So one of the things I definitely wanted to talk about for this review is that thing that I think that Astro succeeds at is their guest choices. They are always good about booking cool guests that fit into the pop culture, horror, and pro wrestling niches. Who did you get to meet and talk to?
So this year I just did the meet and greet with Darby Allin. And had a couple of, I had an action figure for myself and an action figure for my friend Todd to have signed. Todd couldn't make it. He was going to try, but so I brought his figure and got it done for him. And then I did have a minute or two to chit chat with Darby. There's people waiting, so I couldn't talk too long. But he did see my my independent tattoo with him being an old skater. He saw that and pointed that out, and I was like, oh, we talked about skating for a second, and then of course chit chatted about wrestling for a minute, and I'd say I talked to him for about a minute and a half, maybe, not too long. It was obviously people waiting, but he was very nice, and yeah, definitely glad I got a chance to meet him. For a wrestler that I haven't known for very long, it was pretty cool to be able to get to meet him so soon into his career and my fandom. So it's definitely a good pick for a guest. I did want to meet Sammy Guevara. He was right next to Darby Allin. I did hear him talking to people. He seemed really nice, and I wish I would have, but yeah, I just picked Darby Allin. But yeah, as far as all their wrestling guests, they had a lot. A good one. Mick Foley, who I have met numerous times. But yeah, with
I met him once.
Mickey James and was it Tay Conti?
Tay Conti.
Yeah, yep, she was there.
Obviously. Or is it Ty Conti?
However you say it. Yeah, Tony Schiavone. So yeah, they had a good mix of pro wrestlers. So
yes, I mean, I personally got to meet and talk to Mickey James, Tony Schiavone, and Sammy Guevara, and they were just brief conversations like with Tim, but they were all super nice and down to earth. I mean, at no point, and I can say this for Astro, like in general, all the pro wrestling guests that I have met at Astronomicon have been down to earth. They've never treated me different when they knew that I wasn't paying. Because there's been times in the past, like I've met guests at other events that, like, once they found out that I wasn't paying, there was a tone change immediately.
Yeah, we talked about that in the review for part 2. I remember that.
And same thing with this year. Like I said, I got to have conversations with all three of those individuals mentioned, and they were super nice and down to earth. While he's not a pro wrestling guest, Ming Chen was another cool guest that I've met him few times. I've interviewed him 3 times, but he's always down to earth, and he's always a welcome sight at Astro.
I saw him interacting with a lot of the fans.
Yeah,
and I didn't talk to him because I know he's with the comic book man. It's not really my thing, but as I was walking, he was right by the M&E booth and the merch booth, and so I saw him numerous times. So he would stop and talk to people, and it looked like he was just taking pictures with people. It looked like anyway with people that were just kind of mingling around, so he just seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's never been one of those like pay up first, kid.
Let's see that wallet.
Let's see that wallet. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, he just was talking to everybody. It seems like a really nice guy. So
yeah, some of the
he's
other
a good guest to have there. He's been at all of them too, I believe.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't at 3, but he was definitely at 1 and 2.
I was, but I'm pretty sure he was at 3.
So some of the other guests that I did see, and I'll touch upon briefly, it was like Kane Hodder, Shane Mosley. They were both back. I forgot his name, and I'll probably put in a weird edit like here, Michael Berryman, and then Spencer. I don't know what his last name is. The vocalist of Ice Nine Kills.
It's Spencer Charna or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's it.
And there was, what was it, Shannon Elizabeth?
Yep, Shannon Elizabeth was there. Is it Chris Owen? Is that right? Who the guy,
Shermanator? The Shermanator. I wasn't gonna just refer to him as like the actor who played the Shermanator, but I'm
pretty sure it's Chris Owen. That sounds right. But yeah, he was there, and so those all have obviously a connection with the American Pie movies, and then with the Kevin Smith movies as far as Shannon Elizabeth. So Jason Mewes was supposed to be there, but unfortunately he had to cancel. I was actually going to meet him. That was actually I wanted to meet Darby Allin, and then I wanted to meet Jason Mewes.
Well, there's always another chance.
He was there at the second one, Astronomicon 2, so I'm sure they'll be able to get him back.
Yeah. So, yeah, Astro always does good on their guests. Now, Tim is more into the other guests, which were the main attraction, so I'll let him take it away. The M&E crew.
Pretty much. As far as I'm aware, their whole roster was there, along with like affiliates of their roster, because Buckshot was there, and he is an artist from Mob Style Music who works closely with MNE, and he performed at Attack of the Ninjas as well. So he's not part of the official MNE roster, but he's affiliated and does a lot of tours with them. So he was there. Boondocks. I did not see Al Azul Ilu up there, but I know as far at the autograph booth, but they were
I actually saw them.
Yeah, I saw him around at the convention. I just didn't see him at the booth. I wish I would have, because I had a few CD inserts that I wanted to have him sign, but I'll catch him another time. But yeah, they were there at the convention. Obviously Twisted. Right when I first got there, Blaze and who was he standing up there with? ROC. Blaze and the ROC were up at the booth, so I quick met Blaze, got a few autographs, had him sign some inserts of his CDs from way back in his catalog, and even he mentioned, he's like, these look like originals, which they are, because I got them in 2001, I believe, at the Hatchet Rising tour, and I even said that to him, and he's like, wow, I remember that. That's old, and so that was really cool that he saw his old original prints of his CDs. So I had those signed. Talked with him for a minute. He's always cool. He's one of my favorite artists from the Juggalo scene. So met him, got a picture with him right off the bat. Then I just jumped right back in line and met Twisted. I only had to wait about 10 minutes for them because I was right near the front of the line. I got a few autographs from them, talked to them for a minute, and then as far as M&E artists, I didn't meet anymore till the next day. And then Boondocks was up there with Buckshot. They were both standing up there. And it's funny, I saw Buckshot, and I was like, okay, that's Buckshot. And I'm like, who's that guy with him? And then I looked a little closer. It was Boondocks. He just wasn't wearing any of his face paint. And I'm like, oh, no shit. And I had a few things for him to sign. So because he wasn't, like, I saw he has a Hatchet Man on his arm that looks like it's wearing a cowboy hat. And I was just like, is that? It is. That's Boondocks. So yeah, I jumped up there and had him sign a couple things. And I didn't have anything for Buckshot to sign, but did talk to him. He was very nice. And Boondocks was really nice. And so... And like I said, I wish I would have met Al Azul Ilu. I have met them before, but did not see them up at the table, but they were at the convention.
I briefly got to talk to Jamie Madrox for a moment, and he was super cool, like the last time when I got to interview him.
Twisted are both really nice guys.
Yeah,
they're both really cool.
I cannot say anything bad about those two. They've just cool people.
Yeah.
So... one of the things that I just briefly touch upon, one of the things that was a new attraction, at least for me, was the Funko Pop box that they had for photo ops.
Yeah, I thought cool.
That was a nice touch.
I don't recall that being there last year, so I think that was a new thing, and it was made for Astronomicon.
Yes,
too,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah, it said Astro on it. Yep, that was cool.
And once again, there was another thing that is attached to Astronomicon that I'll let Tim talk more about because he knows way more about it than I do. I would believe it's, what is it, the Attack of the Ninjas?
The Attack of the Ninjas. So that is their concert where everybody on their roster performs. They don't always just do it at Astronomicon by any means. It's an event that they do regularly. I think they just kind of attached it to this, obviously, because of the COVID thing last year put an end to it, or put a pause to it, I should say. So they just kind of stuck it with this one this year. But yeah, it was $30, totally worth it. It was at the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor, which is a great venue. It was hotter than hell in there, but it was a great show. And pretty much, everybody from the M&E roster performed. They had a few other guests, like Buckshot performed. Some guys from Al Azul Ilu's label, they have that Long Live Evil, a band called the Super Famous Fun Time Guys, I believe, and it's their duo that's signed to AXE's label, and they performed earlier. I didn't see them, but they were one of the first. So still M&E affiliated, but not on M&E. So they were one of the first performers, and then there was a few. Gibby Stites was on when I got there, and I'm not gonna be able to tell you the exact order everybody played in, but yeah, I saw everybody from Gibby Stites all the way to the end, and then Twisted didn't do a set themselves; they performed with their East Side Ninjas, which is Twisted, Blaze, and Anybody Killa. So Blaze also didn't perform solo either. All four of them performed together as East Side Ninjas. So that was a lot of fun. Super hot in the show, and it was packed, but yeah, absolute blast. So I'm definitely glad I went to that.
Nice. So now we're going to transition into the things that I guess we would just say disliked about Astronomicon. So this one, the first one, it's a minor dislike, and it's not really it's just probably has to do with the venue. Granted, yes, we did say that we liked the bigger venue, but it was weird that they had the celebrity guest split between two rooms. I mean, I know they couldn't fit everybody into one room, but the main room, which had was well lit compared to the second smaller venue room. And there was some guests along the wall that if I wasn't really paying attention, I wouldn't have initially seen them because of the way the second room was set up, because the second room was smaller, and it also had like it wasn't as well lit, should I say, as the first.
Yeah,
one.
it was a little like the main hall seemed to be nice and bright, and the other one had a little bit more of a kind of a, I don't want to say darkness to it, but it was dim, a little more dimly lit.
Yeah, that's a better phrase right there.
Yeah.
See, and that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Oh, I'm getting paid for this?
Not from me, you won't, but you are getting paid the big bucks. Like,
Oh, well, hey, look at the time. We better wrap this.
you blow up off of this video and like,
Yep.
hey, who's that Joe kid? My goodness. But my main point of contention with Astronomicon, and I say this with love because I have love for the crew. I've said this at the last time I did the review. Astronomicon has grown way too big
Yes.
for these hotel convention venues because I'm not trying to cut you off. It's just like, granted, yes, they had a bigger venue with the Sheraton, which was a nice hotel.
Very nice.
Still too many people for such a small place to allow.
Yeah, they would do well in a place like, I think, like the Deltaplex or something. Maybe not necessarily doing it here. They probably want to keep it over that way, but
Absolutely.
in a venue similar to that, like one big, hall or whatever you want to say, and so yeah, because with the two different rooms they had there, this one was really cool. But it felt so weird that they had like the one vendor hall, and then you had to go all along the hallway where the photo op room, the game room, to get to the other hall. Yeah, it's a very small complaint, but it just felt kind of weird. I almost kind of always felt like I was missing something when I was walking around. I'm like, where was that one booth that I wanted to look at? Stuff like that. It was just kind of just a weird setup. Again, I know they're working with what they have, but yeah, they outgrew their old location by the second. One, and this one, if they do another one there, I would feel that will be the last one they'll be able to do there before they move to an even bigger venue, and that's good for them.
I mean, because like inside the vendor rooms, you were able to move around freely, but like getting to the vendor rooms, those hallways were packed.
Yep.
Like it was very congested in the hallways and trying to move around. And like Tim said, like something to like along the lines of moving to like a Deltaplex or like a smaller sports arena.
Yeah.
That way, like, not necessarily like a hockey rink setup, but like that sort of idea.
Yeah.
You
I know
have
what you
this
mean.
much space. You can have all your guests like on the outer perimeter.
Yep.
You can have lines, which we'll get to as one of the other complaints in a moment. Lines that are clearly marked that you can get to. Which guest. The line is for and whatnot, and there'll just be more room to move around, and plus if it's like a little hockey rink sort of thing, it'll have a higher ceiling, so it'll be much cooler with that many bodies packed into one place.
Absolutely, because that was kind of not a low ceiling, but everything's it's all just surrounded, and all the heat from everybody just stayed right there. That's a good point.
So I had mentioned lines. There were, like, for me, like as an attendee, it was confusing because there was no signs for any of the lines. I had no idea which line was for
who
whom.
you're waiting for. Yep.
Well,
even when we first walked in, remember, we were like, is this a line to get in? And they're like, no, this is the line for Darby Allin. And then we step inside, and then they're like, are you guys going to meet Sammy Guevara? If you are, you got to get in this line here. I mean, like, there was people like pointing everywhere. There's lines of people going this way and that way. And the MNE autograph booth, they had people go out into the hallway. So people would be walking along. They're like, is this to meet Twisted, or is this to meet, Kane Hodder, or whoever? I mean, there's no way of knowing unless somebody in line tells you. So
yeah, I will note that even though the lines were confusing the way they were set up, the Astro crew did a very good job of
they're all very
directing
friendly.
traffic and like answering questions.
Yep.
Like, I give a thumbs up to them for like helping tone down the confusion, but like from just generally approaching it from without actually talking to the Astro crew, I would have no idea.
Exactly. Yeah. The crew was very helpful. Everybody was really nice. No one was being jerks. Like, I'm security. You got to do this. Got to do that.
No, and I've never had that problem with any of the Astro crew.
Yeah. No, never. And but yeah, just a lot of confusion about like when I was waiting to meet Blaze. It didn't even look like the line was coming in the door. So I was like just kind of standing there, and a guy was like, "Oh, if you're waiting for Blaze, the line does go out the door." And it wasn't. By the time I got there, it was already kind of a shorter line, so it wasn't like I walk out in the hall and be, oh, great, now I got to wait a half hour. But it was, they kind of had everybody stop at the door, so it looked like people were just, the last of the line was just mingling around the table, And there was no way to know until he directed me, which he did so very nicely. But yeah, I would have had no idea. I would have felt kind of bad if I walked up and there's 20 people still waiting outside the door, so yeah, so it's just they really could use a little more signage, or I don't know, ropes or something.
But then that would come with a venue change, because with the way that venue was set up, I don't think they could have necessarily had like roped off lines.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I might have blocked a door or something.
Yeah. So the way that was set up, so I can understand that they did the best.
They did the best they could. Yeah, and they were doing a good job. It was just confusing.
So, two other minor things at the end that I can't really hold against Astro because it had nothing to do with them. 90-degree weather in August.
Yeah.
I hate Michigan weather like during the summer because it sucks.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for the crew, like they were playing basketball with fans outside, and it's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh,
And then especially like the artists went from there then to the Blind Pig, which was like I'm not even kidding, probably 110 degrees in there. Boondocks, when he was performing, you'd literally just see sweat just not even dripping off, it was just flowing off his arm, like when he's holding the microphone. It was just
I can only imagine.
I can't even imagine. All their sets were, and this is usually the way they do it with Attack of the Ninjas. It's shorter sets so everybody can play, but yeah, they were doing like 20-minute sets, and I bet that was probably about all they could even handle.
I understand. And another minor gripe, once again, this is not against Astro. It's because of COVID, there was a lack of food in the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
Astro had food vendors on site that could sell you food out in the parking lot, but like just any of the restaurants around either had very long waits due to short staff, or they were just closed altogether. It was a Burger King attached right next, close to the Sheraton,
from our hotel,
and it was closed the entire weekend. Mind blowing. It was just so I had to catch a ride with a friend.
Because we dropped you off at Red Robin,
and it was a 40-minute wait, no matter what. And
when we were on our way to the show,
I caught a ride with a friend, and we eventually found Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's,
and I was able to get food because they were actually fully staffed, and there was hardly any customers there, so that worked out. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a sign of the times.
Certainly,
and
things
will eventually get better.
But
things will eventually get better. At least I hope.
I hope.
So, that actually sums up our review of Astronomicon 4. Once again, they did rather well overall. I just feel that they need a bigger venue, and I look forward to more Astronomicons in the future. So, folks, this is Joe from My Geek Scene with Tim, aka the Echoside Fiend. Take it easy.
Too sweet.